Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. More than 46,000 Ukrainians will fight for Putin against Ukraine. That's according to the Ukrainians themselves. Why do you think that's so? I will explain. That is the first topic of this video. The second one. India drops Russian oil and picks up American LPG, my friends, LPG, liquefied petroleum gas from the United States of America. Or not. Why does India do that? And is India afraid of the American sanctions? All right, well, if so, the Europeans increased their purchases of Russian fertilizer. So we tell you not to buy it, India, but we don't tell anything to the Europeans to buy. So I guess they give here and they take here. We're going to discuss that one. Next, Russian forces liberate Tsegelnoye settlement in Kharkov region. And the Russians defeat the Ukrainian forces in the forest area near Kupyansk. And then we have two Jews representing two countries will decide the war in Ukraine. Witkoff and Zelensky. They meet in Turkey. Turkey doesn't have a Jewish president yet. They got Erdogan. But Zelensky, Jew, represents the Ukrainian nation. Witkoff, Jew, represents the Americans. You and I. Why? I don't know. I guess a coincidence. And I read a comment a while ago. Someone pointed it out to me, like, why do you talk about the Jews so much? Why are they every fucking where? I'm not picking this up. These things are there. It's just that you have to have an eye for them, I guess. That is the eye of not ignoring what's going on. All right, let's go. Let's start with the first one. Ukr Men. These are the Ukrainians. Right there. This is from the 18th of November 2025. Russia mobilizes more than 46,000 Ukrainians from occupied territories. Coordination headquarters. Now, Russia has, listen to this word, forcibly mobilized 46,327 Ukrainians from the temporary occupied territories. Forcibly. Now, let me tell you this. Let's say I'm an Ukrainian in, I don't know, the occupied territories. And the Russians forcefully take me and give me an AK-47 modernized. And give it to me and I have the clip over there or whatever, the magazine. And they say, now go and fight your brothers. And that's a Russian commander. What do you think I will do? Together with 46,000 more. I will definitely turn around and fuck those guys up. No, wouldn't you do that? So it's not force. I mean, this is the same thing with those things. That thing with those things. Good job, Abel. The same thing with the Russians abducted the Ukrainian children to adopt them in the Russian families. Why would you do that with your enemy? Besides, that child at one point will learn that he or she is Ukrainian and these guys are Russians. And these guys voted for Putin, who destroyed his parents in Ukraine. Therefore, I have all the right in the world of my parents, adopted parents. I don't believe that at all. Zero. That the Russians will do that. I mean, it's like I have my enemy, his parents, and then I adopt them. What do you think will happen? With all their rights, those children, when they become adults, should me. Wherever I might be. The same thing with this one. I don't think those 46,327 Ukrainians were forcibly. Even if they were. Give me the weapons. You got a military. 46, you got an army right there. You don't want that to happen unless they want to do it. You remember the SS groups? The SS in the Second World War. They had SS foreigners. British SS, American SS, Romanian SS. Why? They were not forcefully made to be SS, they joined it. Why? I don't know. They're crazy. The same with these Ukrainians. These Ukrainians want to fight on the... Well, I shouldn't speak for all of them or for any, for that matter. But it seems to me that if, as I explained at the beginning, if you'd give me this and you want me to find my brother and you are the criminal, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to look for you. So again, this is baboonish. Why would they fight for Putin? Maybe they know that the guys in charge of their nation in Ukraine are not Ukrainians and do not work for the Ukrainian interest. Maybe they know that. Maybe they like what Putin says, as criminal as he is. That makes them criminals, right? Baboonish. Next. The Americans impose sanctions on whomever they want because they're in charge. We all voted for the American government to be in charge of the whole globe. It doesn't work that way. If I can punch you in the face and take whatever I want, why should I ask for? I go and grab it. That's the way it works. We are primitive beings. Still, their actions prove that. I have a problem with him, and I tell everybody else, if you do business with Russia, I will hurt you. All of you. Civilians doesn't really matter, because when you sanction a country, you attack civilians, hoping that the civilians will their government. Why? That's terrorism. But anyway, you don't think economic terrorism? All right. If you go you have a job, and you go with all those imbeciles at your job, and you tell them, well, I think that this is this and this is that. You give your opinions. As a free human being, you get fired. Sometimes you get fired. That's economic terrorism. Or if you speak outside of your job, in public, or you tweet something, and your employer sees that, he can fire you for your free speech. I was in my own time. You are just a means for me to make money. I give you my work. I don't give you my values. That's not yours. All right? Oh, that's not the policy. You are here to make money, not to make me a Christian or a Muslim or something with your values. I'm here to work. That's all. So when they fire you, they are doing economic terrorism. And if you try to get another job and they say, oh, Emil has this kind of ideas, we're not going to hire him, that's economic terrorism. Why? Because my children, if I have them, they will be affected by my free speech because these guys will not give me a job. Oh, Emil, open one. Okay, well, that's what you start your own business, I guess. If you can. We can't all of us have businesses. We're not peasants anymore, unfortunately. They fooled us. Nevertheless, let's see what's going on here with India. Indian oil firms to import US LPG. This is according to the Russians. This is the 18th of November. New Delhi is under mounting pressure, economic terrorism, from the Trump administration to reduce its energy dependence on Moscow. That means Trump, a country, he represents that country, told another country, you do not buy from them, you buy from me. Otherwise, I will hurt you. You like that? If you like that, I hope your neighbor does that to you. If your neighbor is stronger, he could do it. India has announced a major contract for sourcing liquefied petroleum gas LPG from the US. Then it's going to be very cheap. The deal comes amid mounting pressure from the administration of US President Donald Trump to slash New Delhi's trade deficit with Washington and end oil purchases from Russia. Indian PSU, public sector undertaking, oil companies have successfully concluded a one-year deal for imports of around 2.2 MTPA LPG, Indian Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said in a post on X. Good. Why? Because the Americans are so productive, they are in a trade deficit with India. Can you believe that? Yeah, you should. And here what it says. A historic first. Good job. If it works for India, you do it. If this is the historic first, if that is because it's in the interest of India, I'm all for it. If that is done because you're scared, well, it's a different story. So what the deficit is, let's see. The volume will account to close to 10% of India annual LPG imports. 10%. India imports around 20 to 21 million tons of LPG annually. The US has imposed a 50% reciprocal tariff on Indian goods, including a 25% levy on imports of Russian oil. That's extra. Got it? India retained its position as the second largest buyers of Russian crude oil in October. Well, we'll see in November. So what do we have? New Delhi has dismissed criticism over its Russian oil. India's total exports to the US fell for a second consecutive month since the 50% tariffs were imposed late in August, according to reports. Shipments to the US reduced 8.5% year on year in October to 6.3 billion. That means they're importing less. There you go. The US is still India's largest export market. That means the Indians give us goods, we buy them with a printed dollar, and that's it. In the first 7 months of the fiscal year, it accounted for exports worth $52 billion accounts to exports. In September, Trump has referred to totally one-sided disaster. What was it? The trade ties. India had a trade surplus of $40 billion with the US in fiscal year 2025. $40 billion. That means the Indians are ripping us off. And Trump says, you know what? I'm going to smack you in the ass. I'm sorry, in the face. That's what it is, my friends. You cannot buy that. I'm curious, is this liquefied petroleum gas is much cheaper than they get it from the Russians? I don't know. What do you think? Probably they will say like this: we're going to give you some loans, you buy it from me, I'm going to sell it to you, stop that. I don't know yet what's underneath this, but hey, they try to destroy Putin's ability to wage war against Ukraine. Here it is. Russia increases fertilizer exports to European Union despite higher tariffs. So why is this guys in the US not sanctioning the European Union? Why not? In the first 3 quarters of 2025, Russian fertilizer exports to the European Union countries rose 5% year on year, reaching 1.346 billion euros despite tariffs introduced in July. This is the highest 9-month total since 2022. The Moscow Times reported, citing data from Eurostat, that Poland purchases the largest share of Russian fertilizers. Poland, the biggest mouth with the Baltic states. There you have it. And that is 37% of total EU imports. Germany ranks second among importers of Russian fertilizers, 10%, followed by Romania, 9%. Hey, Romanian motherfuckers, how about that? Where is your fertilizer? You hate the Russians now? Spain, 7%, France, 6%. All these guys. But you have India import American liquefied petroleum gas. Why? Because this is a selective justice. I close an eye here, I open 3 of them over there. All right? This is the European Union, my friends. Now, remember, without fertilizer, your crop takes a shit. That means you're not going to have papa. That means you're going to starve. You got that? So who grabs who by the balls? Who holds who by the balls? Oh, we're not going to give you some microchips. Okay, we're not going to give you food. That's why the Americans cannot fight the Chinese or the producing countries. Well, the Americans have enough crop and other modified crops in the US. You know what I mean? We eat something we don't know actually what we're eating. And the government won't tell us. They will not give us the legislation telling us, okay, you have here a steak, beef steak. What's in it? A growth hormone, garbage, and I don't know, many other garbages that are not allowed to be on the list. If you would know what you eat, you would not touch that thing. Not touch that thing. Go and look. For instance, I'm just going to give you that. Go and see how, have you had Chilean salmon? Farm raised? I dare you to go and watch some videos on YouTube about that. You will never, ever touch the Chilean, and I'm not against Chile. I'm just saying, the Chilean farm-raised salmon. Go and watch it. Go and see how, when you have a, how do you call those, hot dogs. I dare you to go and see how they are produced. You will never eat them. And that's just how they produce them, not what they put in them. Oh, you want to see the chicken? Have you seen a chicken breast lately? Does that look like, I don't know, 8 years old chicken? No, it looks like 5 times bigger. Why do you think it's so? Science. Follow the science. Okay, so nevertheless, we don't know what we're eating, and the government doesn't allow us to know. What's going on here on the front? Russian forces liberate Tsegelnoye settlement in Kharkov region. Where's Kharkov region? No worries, I will show you. Kharkov right there. This is the Oblast of Kharkov. And next we're going to go to Kupyansk. In the forest, they destroyed them right there. Russia defeats Ukrainian forces in forest areas near Kupyansk. That means the encirclement will continue. That's Kupyansk right here for you. It's a lost city, as I think is right here, Krasnoarmeysk, right there. Pokrovsk. And the last one, two Jews meet in Ankara. Witkoff to meet Zelensky in Turkey. US President's special envoy, he's the Middle East envoy, but he deals with Ukraine and Russia. Russia and Ukraine, just so you know, are not in the Middle East. Will arrive for a meeting with President of Ukraine, thank you very much, not the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelensky, who plans to visit Turkey on Wednesday. They're too visible. They're too visible. What are you going to do when people will start noticing that? The problem is you don't have to only notice it, because a lot of people notice it, but they give the wrong, they connect the wrong dots that the media, the Hollywood and politicians and your university professors fed you for such a long time. Don't connect those dots and focus on the secondary and tertiary issues, not on the main, the primary issues. Oh, that's the way they do it. Therefore, when you see that, you say, so what? They're better than you and I. I mean, look at the movies, actually, right? They're more moral than you. Their IQ is higher. And what's wrong? They're just white, like us. Like Gerald Taylor said, they look white to me. Oh my God, it was so deep. All right, my friends, here it is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. They will decide what the Americans want and what the Ukrainians want. That guy deciding for us and the other guy deciding for the Ukrainian nation. Hey, but Putin is Russian. So the Russian is in charge of the Russian people, but the other guys are determining the fate of two other nations. I'm not saying Witkoff is not part of a nation, but you know, we can't be baboons now, okay? Look who's doing the foreign policy of the United States of America. Blinken. Go over there and see who Blinken was. Go and see Madeleine Albright. Go and see what's Kissinger. The guy mentioned just what? 3, 4? Don't give me Rubio. Rubio is a baboon compared with Witkoff. I think Rubio is just a secondary, tertiary guy over there. First in line, I think, are the Witkoffs. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.